Hey, what's going on, guys? Hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here. Welcome back to The Fragrance Well. So for today's topic, I got 8 fragrances here that I think make you smell grown and sexy. Grown and sexy fragrances. Obviously, this can vary a little bit depending on what you might find to be a grown and sexy scent. But for me, these fragrances would work well in a social setting where you are going to be mingling with people, primarily people you might want to attract to you, whatever that may be. And you want to smell like you're a man who's got his stuff together, a grown man, and you want to also have a sexy allure to you. I got these 8 fragrances here. I think these all do that. This doesn't necessarily have to be formal, but I don't think a date night is what my mindset is for this fragrances. So I'm not thinking date night. It's definitely evening, social event, whatever that may be. We're gonna get right into it, but before we do, as always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like the content, and of course, hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, guys, first one's coming from the house of Tom Ford. This is Tobacco Oud. Tom Ford, Tobacco Oud. So this fragrance here, I would say, has an intriguing quality to it. It is bold, but yet still refined in a strange way. There's a little bit of a whiskey accord in this. Obviously, there is some tobacco. I do find it to be a little bit smoky, but not overly ashy. There certainly is some oud in here, but it is a type of oud that, you know, doesn't smell like a barnyard, doesn't smell hay-like. It's not overly earthy, but it is definitely here. There's also a spiciness to this, and there's some other supporting woods as well. This fragrance here is definitely not for the faint of heart, in my opinion. It is definitely a scent that, you know, is meant for a grown man. I don't think, you know, a young guy can really get too far with this, although to each his own. But you want to smell grown and sexy, particularly in a social event. You want to have an intrigue to your scent choice. I think Tom Ford Tobacco Oud can help you achieve that. This one here just has that masculine quality to it that I think just makes you smell like a grown and sexy man. So once again, from the house of Tom Ford, this is Tobacco Oud. All right, guys, next one is coming from Tiziana Terenzi. This is Ursa. Tiziana Terenzi, Ursa. So with this one, I think you will definitely smell grown and sexy, but you also will have some intrigue and a little bit of an exotic touch to this. Not too many people are walking around smelling like this masterpiece right here. You're gonna have dried fruits. You're gonna have boozy rum accords with it. You're gonna have leathery accords. There's woodiness to this. There is some oud in this, and there's incense and resins as well. A little bit of a complex fragrance, but very interesting, very different, very intriguing. Could be a conversation starter. Smells amazing. Quality is impeccable. You don't need a ton of sprays. This one will do what it needs to do in the air. Leaves an amazing scent trail. And you want to smell grown and sexy and have some intrigue to your scent choice. I think Tiziana Terenzi could be one. Ursa by Tiziana Terenzi could be one to check out. However, you do need to like resinous and incensey fragrances to you know, really like this one. So I would say you want to sample this one first. But if you like scents like this one here could be a really nice choice. Once again, from Tiziana Terenzi, this is Ursa. All right, guys, next one's coming from the house of Francesca Bianchi. This is Lost in Heaven. Francesca Bianchi, Lost in Heaven. So what do you achieve with this one? This one here is hair on the chest, all the way masculine fragrance. And I think this fragrance smells great, but it is definitely not going to be for everyone. This is definitely grown man and sexy for sure. Getting down to that almost primordial sexiness. This one does have some animalic touches to it. It doesn't smell fecal, so it's not that kind of animalic. It also doesn't necessarily smell too sweaty, but there is cumin in this. There's also some beeswax and castoreum and some heavy musk, but there's also just this myriad of spices in this fragrance. So it's very spicy more than anything, but you have that kind of heavy animalic accords are going along with it. This one here is grown man, maybe even 40 and up, and I'm not even that old, but I think this fragrance is masterful. Definitely reminds me of those classic, very heavy masculine scent based fragrances of yesteryear, and this one just makes me think like it's a night out sexy version of it. So you want to be very bold with your choice. but still have that sexy kind of primal allure to it, this is one you might want to check out. From the house of Francesca Bianchi, this is Lost in Heaven. All right, guys, next one's coming from the house of Xerjoff. This is Kemi. Xerjoff Kemi. So this is coming from the K collection. The brand Kemi originally made this fragrance, so the fragrance itself is not new, but it was repackaged in these bottles last year. I don't know the history, if Xerjoff was a sister company by then. I don't know all of that, but we're gonna talk about the scent. First of all, this is definitely going to be sexy in terms of being alluring from a sweet aspect. But once you get a little bit closer, it gets animalic on you. So this is sweet, fruity like caramel, candied like caramel, combined with barnyard oud. That doesn't sound sexy, I know, but listen, all I'm gonna say is this fragrance is masterfully blended. What I would say is in the air is where the magic happens. If you spray this on your skin and start doing this left and right, you're gonna smell that oud that's in here, as well as some other animalic notes like civet. You're gonna smell those notes and you might think that, it smells like that in the air. It doesn't, trust me. The magic happens in the air. You have to let this fragrance do what it does. But it is a beautiful, fruity, caramel-like sweetness to it. There's also some other sweet accords in the dry down that kind of help it stay that way. But the underlying bed of it, what kind of gives it its oomph, is some animalic oud and civet, along with some other kind of woodsy base accords. But the sweetness definitely overpowers that, animalic nature that this has. But all I can say is this blends together to create a very sexy fragrance, especially the scent trail that this leaves behind. It smells lovely. Don't knock it until you try it, but you're definitely gonna wanna sample it first, because those notes may be a little too much for you, but you're just gonna smell sweet and alluring and sexy with a kind of underlying primal animalic sexiness to it with this fragrance. So once again, this is Xerjoff's Kemi. All right, next one's coming from the house of Givenchy, and this is Gentleman Eau de Parfum. Givenchy, Gentleman Eau de Parfum. Listen, I've talked about how I don't really wear these gentleman fragrances anymore, but I just picked this up the other day, got my nose on it, and I'm like, you know what? This is still masterful in my opinion. Still the best gentleman fragrance in my personal opinion, though some other ones can certainly go on this list, but this is what I would call classy but sexy at the same time. That powdery, sweet iris mixing with the vanilla and that touch of spicy black pepper on the top mixing with some lavender. I think this fragrance just smells absolutely lovely. Definitely has a sexiness to it, and you're gonna smell grown and sexy with this fragrance. It is a little bit more of a young style to it with the amount of sweetness that this has, but I still think this is a fragrance that works best on a grown man. So you're gonna smell grown and sexy with this, and that sweet iris and vanilla combination that this has just kind of creates that allure. So this one I think definitely can work if you want to smell grown and sexy. Once again, from the house of Givenchy, this is Gentleman Eau de Parfum. All right, next one's coming from the house of Day 3 Fragrances. This is Filosofia. Day 3 Fragrances, Filosofia. I've got one word to describe this fragrance, and the word is smooth. This is such a smooth fragrance. Opens up with just a little bit of spice coming from some cardamom and black pepper, and in the rest of it you kind of got this rolled cigar feel with a nice, just high class rolled cigar, leafy tobacco kind of smell that has just a dash of a smokiness to it, just a dash. And then at the base you kind of got these chocolatey, nutty kind of accord that just kind of makes it a little bit more cozy, for lack of a better word. But the fragrance is just so freaking smooth. It's like a smooth cigar. I mean, it's just, that's what it reminds me of. I do know that the inspiration for this fragrance was a specific type of cigar, but all I can say is I haven't experienced that particular type of cigar myself, but this is just a lovely experience. I love wearing this fragrance. It's actually my scent of the day for today. But you're gonna smell grown and sexy with this. And man, just so smooth. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being smooth with your fragrance choice as a man. So this is definitely one I think is worth checking out. Once again, from Day 3 Fragrances, this is Filosofia. All right, guys, next one's coming from the house of Mansera, and this is Vetiver Sensuel. Mansera Vetiver Sensuel. Come on, man. I mean, who said you can't have a freshie on it? I know it's, you know, primarily wintertime as me doing this video, but you can put a freshie on this. Matter of fact, there's plenty of freshies we can put on this. But this right here is just clean and fresh citrus. Juicy citrus concoction. In the opening of the fragrance, there's a little bit of mint, kind of adding some elements to it. And then you just have clean, slightly grassy vetiver with some clean woods and some musk. The fragrance is overall nowhere near as complex as some of this other stuff. It's certainly not as rich. As I said, again, it's a freshie, but man, it smells absolutely amazing. And you'll definitely smell grown and sexy with this fragrance. This one, overall, I do think does span all ages, but it'll certainly work for this category as well. Doesn't have to be the most richest, most complex, most intriguing fragrance for you to achieve that grown and sexy allure. Just kind of have to look the part, I think, and then just wear a fragrance that, hey, just makes you smell like everything is well put together, and I think it'll work. So once again, from the House of Mansera, this is Vetiver Sensuel. All right, guys, the final fragrance for this list, coming from the House of Arabian Oud, this is Majestic Woody Intense. Arabian Oud, Majestic Woody Intense. So with this one, you're gonna smell sweet and sexy and a little bit exotic, because this does have a different allure to it than most of the other fragrances on this list. Obviously, it is sweet, as I already stated. Also features a note of Davana, which has kind of a balsamic, fruity kind of smell to it. It's obviously woody. There is a little bit of oud in this. Again, it's an easy oud to wear if you want to just classify it in its most basic form. Easy oud to wear, a little bit of a woody base, but also has a lot of sweetness to it as well. You're going to smell very alluring and very exotic with this fragrance. Certainly going to smell grown and sexy. This one here will do the job with minimal sprays. You don't want to spray too much of this. At that point, you're just going to be loud and obnoxious. That is not grown and sexy, in my opinion. Grown and sexy means people come to you, are drawn to you. And with this fragrance, maybe 2 sprays at the most, you'll kind of achieve that effect, because it does pack a punch. It doesn't seem like it does. It's very interesting. You just kind of smell it. Doesn't seem like it would be that strong, but trust me, it will do what it needs to do. So once again, from the House of Arabian Oud, this is Majestic Woody Intense. All right, guys, that is gonna do it for this video. Feel free to leave down in the comments what is the scent you like to wear when you wanna smell grown and sexy. I look forward to seeing what you guys share. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. Remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.